little engines on the Skarloey line keep quite busy. Duncan was glad to be returning to his usual work after a long turn at the works. The other engines will be big and glad to see me. I'm sure they've barely held it together since I've been away. Duncan arrived at the sheds. Some of the little engines were gathered round. Ahem! So I told him, fuss pot, and then, Duncan, look what the wind blew in. Good to see you again. Good to see you? Is that it? The engines were puzzled. Does no one else have anything to say? How about, welcome home, Duncan? We missed you, Duncan. We've been highly overworked without you, Duncan. We saved your favorite place in the sheds, Duncan.
We're very glad to have you back, Duncan.
Indeed, very glad you say. I've only been gone for the better part of a year, slaving away at the steamworks, while that Mariposa was stranded on the jetty. And this is what I get, not so much as a welcome party, eh? Duncan, we saw you fairly often. You still sleep here. Oh, so we've got some excuses now. And what for? It's a simple ask, to get a reasonable welcome home from that blister in Steamworks. Blasted pipe! This is a sorry state of affairs. Before the others could retort, Duncan puffed away. Duncan met James at the station. Look who it is. Well, if it isn't the Big Red Menace. Come to get your stripes back. I'd rather not. Anyway, life has been much quieter since you've returned to your line. A little too quiet if you ask me. The little engines don't so much as notice me pulling double my weight. They just sit pretty in the sheds like nothing's happened. They have so much to be grateful for. Now don't be late, I'm a guaranteed connection. Now I will be. Bossy buffers. Meanwhile, the little engines were talking about Duncan. What an entitled engine he is. I don't think he meant it that way, Sir Handel. It's still very rude of him. In fairness, even a small welcome would have been nice. We could have been a little warmer. Sure we could, if he wasn't such a pain in the boiler to be around. Duncan huffed along with his passengers. The coaches were cross at us bumping them around. Hold back! We won't be treated like this! Pucker up, you lot! I've had to deal with 2 musty engine works covered in soot, surrounded by deafening pounded steel and the smelting heat of the forge's fire, and not so much as a welcome home on my return from home. These engines are my friends! Friends indeed! Duncan wheezed up the hill to the last station. His extra hard puffing caused him to strain. Soon it was time for the return journey. If I wasn't so on top, I'd be late on purpose to pay back James, but I'm afraid we'll just have to be early. All right, Duncan, play nice. And they set off. Duncan started to feel out of puff. This is rubbish. We're just barely getting started. His driver couldn't find any leaks, and there was plenty of steam. Oh, my seals! There must be water in my cylinders! Open the valves, driver! We can't, Duncan. You must have jammed them with your puffing. Oh, just you wait till we get home if you really want to see something jammed. Did he just threaten me? Duncan slid into the next station. Rusty was waiting. What's wrong, Duncan? Feeling sluggish? Why no, driver's cocked up my cylinders is all. I can barely puff. Let me help you. Botheration, I don't need any. All aboard? At the next station, they met Peter Sam. Hello, Duncan and Rusty. Is everything alright? Everything is fine. Just get this Rusty away from me. Duncan is having a bad time with his cylinders. Want to give us a helping wheel? Gladly. Anything for our Duncan. What in crikey is going on here? As they puffed back down the line, the engines kept joining the train to help Duncan.
Can't leave me out.
The cavalcade arrived at Croven's Gate, early as planned. The passengers were pleased and many took pictures. James rolled in. What's going on here? Wow, way to cheat, Duncan. I didn't ask for any of this.
Duncan didn't cheat, James. He just needed help.
And he'll have it. Duncan isn't always the friendliest engine, but we know he's really useful. And we're happy to have him home again. Don't be going all mushy on me. But Duncan blushed, and the others knew they had secretly made his day.